Okay, well, welcome, Kaitlyn. I'm glad you're here to talk with us with our Chemistry 108 students. Just a little bit of background, Chemistry 108 is the new course that we have for new majors. So we've been, throughout the semester, we've been interviewing folks like yourself and showing those interviews with our students in Chemistry 108 so they can get kind of an idea of what it's like to be an upperclassman, so to speak, in chemistry, and talk a little bit about your experience. So, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, awesome. My name is Kaitlyn Birkhoff. I am a current ACS chemistry major and a public health minor, and I am a senior undergraduate student as well. So I will be graduating in December of this year.
Wow, just a few weeks away, actually, right?
Yep.
You'll be a graduate with a degree in hand and ready to go off out in the world. So that's fantastic. So I wanted to start off by asking you why did you choose chemistry as your major?
Yeah, I chose chemistry. So starting from a young age, I always had an interest in science. So me and my dad would watch Bill Nye every day when I got home from school, and I always was interested in questioning the unknown. And it wasn't until I took high school chemistry that I found oh well, I could still do science and still do math and kind of take my own path on research. And so when I got here, I started out with a chemistry degree, but I really didn't know what kind of options there were out there for me. My stepdad is actually a chemist himself, so that kind of also paved the path for me. But once I got here and I got involved in research, I really figured out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
All right, fantastic. And so when did you start here at USM?
I started in the fall of 2018.
Of 2018, okay.
Yep.
So that probably sounds like a long time to you, but it's really not, right? It goes by pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like years, 10 years ago, but it's really not that far away. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It was just yesterday, and now you're getting ready to graduate and go on to bigger and better things, right?
Yep.
So during your time here, you've been involved in a variety of undergraduate research projects, I think, with Dr. Donahue. So do you want to talk a little bit about kind of what it's like doing research as an undergrad? How long have you been doing research, that kind of thing?
Yeah, of course. So I do research with the Donahue Research Group, and we're an organic synthesis group. The project I'm doing is mostly on nitrogen heterocycle synthesis, and I actually got started in this project in also the fall of 2018. So I have been here pretty much since I started college. That was more on my own. So I kind of reached out to different people and be like, hey, I know we do research on this campus. Would you be willing to let me shadow and kind of seeing what doing research as an undergraduate looks like? So I started in December of 2018. So I was still in general chemistry when I got into a research lab. And so that was definitely a big step, being in an organic synthesis group, being in general chemistry 1. But I would say it definitely has helped me, especially with being able to do hands-on research and learning the chemistry that way while also learning it in my classes. So I would say research has been an integral part of my learning in total.
Yeah, fantastic. One of the things that I get from students in Chemistry 108 from time to time, because students have to do activities, a lot of them will attend a departmental seminar. And a number of them will say, it was interesting, but I was kind of intimidated because I didn't really understand what the so-and-so was talking about. So did you experience that as you transitioned, from being a freshman to all of a sudden being a freshman undergraduate research student? And how did you deal with that?
Yeah, so my first couple weeks, I was really just shadowing a grad student, and they would explain the project to me. I'd be like, I don't even know what a heterocycle is. I didn't even know how nitrogen bonds work. I don't know anything more than just something can bond to one other thing. But when you start getting to these big complex molecules, it gets very advanced. So I did experience a little bit of that, frighten when you get into a research lab, but it's more of just knowing that this is a welcoming environment and knowing that they want you to learn as much as you can. So even though you might not understand it now, everyone here is there to help you, and you definitely get used to it and you start learning things that will enhance you further on, because I learned, for example, NMR before I took organic. And so it has helped me in my studies. But yeah, it's definitely frightening to begin with.
Yeah, no, and that's normal, right? I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
listening to somebody speaking a foreign language. I mean,
Yep.
in parts, you're picking up words and pieces, but the whole sentences may not make a lot of sense to you. But I do think it's important just to immerse yourself into it, and now when you look back on it, you're probably like, yeah, that was easy, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Yep.
easy once you know the answer, right? I mean,
Yep.
but I really want students to know that they shouldn't be intimidated about getting started in research. That the faculty really are interested in helping mentor them through that entire process. So
Yeah.
glad you mentioned that. Now you also, if I remember right, early on in your undergraduate career, you actually went and gave a talk at a CERMAX meeting,
I
and
did.
I
Yeah.
believe you also got a Goldwater Scholarship, right? So you want to
Yes.
talk a little bit about those experiences?
Yeah, so I can kind of lay out the timeline. So I started research 2018. By the summer of 2019, so I went through that spring semester doing shadowing. In summer of 2019, I was actually able to get like a paid research assistantship over the summer to do research in the Donahue group. So I would come in every day and do research, and that was definitely an integral part in completing my research and really learning, because it was just me, one other student, our grad student, and my advisor. And that was all that was in the lab. So definitely very hands-on during that time. And then I think CERMAX was in October of 2019. So that research I did over the summer, I was able to present at CERMAX. And that was very scary, especially because it was in Savannah, Georgia.
Sure.
And so you're traveling. I've never been to Georgia to begin with, so I'm traveling to an unknown state, giving my first research presentation. I'm a sophomore in college. I'm currently enrolled in Organic 1, and I'm giving an organic synthesis presentation. So I mean, it's scary, but that like presentation set the standard for all my following years, and I've now presented at 9 different research conferences.
Nine.
And so, yes,
Wow.
9. Yeah, it is a lot, but it has definitely, like, I think I'm going into grad school with more of an edge because I have all this research and presentation experience. And so I'm pretty much a better scholar because of my experiences. And
Fantastic.
so about Goldwater, I applied in 2020, and Goldwater, if y'all don't know, it's like one of the most prestigious research scholarships you can get. And it's for engineering, mathematics, natural sciences. And you apply and they make you fill out a personal statement and a research essay. Those are the 2 big requirements besides just like your general like name and extracurriculars and stuff. So I applied in 2020 and I didn't end up getting the scholarship, but I was able to get some edits back and I reapplied in 2021, and that's when I was awarded the scholarship. And so just having that really gives me an additional edge to applying to grad schools, because you're following saying like, I'm a Goldwater scholar, I have earned this. And so I have proved my research abilities. So I will continue doing this great stuff at your university whenever I go to grad school.
Yeah, fantastic. So, the Chemistry 108 students, we have the director for the Nationally Competitive Scholarships Office come and talk to them all about the various things. But of course, for Chemistry 108, we really do focus an awful lot on the Goldwater, and we're very proud of the number of Goldwater scholars we had, including you, of course.
Yep.
And I think you're the most recent Goldwater scholar for the discipline, and so yeah, we have a long history of producing good Goldwater scholars that go on and do great things, and I know you're going to be one of those. So we're very proud of that. So you also, a number of our students, however, don't go on and do internships. You did. Do you want to talk a little bit about, how you found the internship, where it was at, and kind of what you did and what you learned from your internship experience in chemistry?
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. So I did a internship this past summer. It was with Gilead Sciences, and it was supposed to be in person. So they are based out of Foster City, California. However, COVID kind of threw everything off, and it was a virtual internship. Nevertheless, I still had a great experience. I found the internship actually through Indeed. So yeah, so I went on there and just Googled like chemistry internships, and a whole bunch of them popped up. I think I applied for 4 or 5. I also had the option of doing an REU as well as opposed to an internship, but I went to long-term go into academia. And so I knew I will be getting all this experience at universities. Let me see what it's going to be like maybe working for like a pharmaceutical company and seeing if I'd rather go do that or just like how I can use that experience to further my academics or my career in academia. And so I did my internship. I keep saying research and internship combined. I did my internship with Gilead Sciences, and I was with their drug substance regulatory strategy group. So it's also a little bit different than what I currently do. So they are in regulatory strategy, which is kind of the back end of the pharmaceutical drug process. So they're the ones that file the patents, apply for market applications. But I work with a team of about 7 process chemists. So they're all trained in organic chemistry, but they're looking for like more of a desk job. So they have all done like the hands-on, and they're like, actually, I want to retire and go do this hands-on stuff. So they basically look at all of the drug screenings, and they look at process impurities, and they file the patents based off of that. And when you file for a market application, commonly you'll get questions back being like, oh, well, we see this impurity. What is it going to be like when it actually goes into your body? Is it going to be toxic? Could it be mutagenic? So my project focused on a way to basically categorize these mutagenic impurities and rank them on a scale on how they would react in your body, and if it's something to worry about or something that is not going to cause a lot of harm. And so I went through and wrote a guideline on how to do that. And it was a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of looking at, it was 2 different drugs that I focused on, but a lot of looking at their laboratory and their manufacturing scale and seeing how these impurities went when they're on a small scale versus a big scale. And so I think this experience, although it's not what I currently do now, I mean, it's greatly enhanced my knowledge of just overall chemistry and like how what we do here can translate later on and how it moves down the process line. But I mean, it was very interesting. I had an amazing time, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone.
So this was a paid internship?
Yes, I did get paid. I got paid $28 an hour, and it was virtual, and they sent me like a computer, a keyboard, pretty much anything I needed. So I sat in my room for 8 hours a day and got paid. So
wow, fantastic. So of course it would have been nice to go to California for a summer, and do that, but COVID certainly has gotten in the way of a lot of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So fantastic. So you're thinking about moving on now to graduate school, right? You're in the application process right now. Do you want to talk just maybe a minute about your strategy for identifying which graduate schools that you've kind of targeted for applications?
Yeah. A lot of the grad schools, some of them will reach out to you, just like having your name out there, going to different conferences. Being a Goldwater Scholar definitely has helped because your name is in this like big poll of being like, these are the best researchers in the country right now. And so grad schools usually reach out to you by that. I did my own research. The biggest thing I would say is look for professors that you want to do research under and don't focus as much on the school. Because grad school, you're going to be there for 5 years and your job is to do research. So you want to make sure that you are happy in your research group, and you have, when you're doing your rotations, you have 3 or 4 different options of professors to look for, rather than just going to a school and being like, I want to work for this one professor, and you get there and it's not what you expected it to be. And so that's the first thing that I've looked for. The second thing is just like general like housing situations, because I mean, you're going to be living on your own most likely. And so just cost of living generally. I actually had the opportunity to go to Rice and Purdue and tour their grad schools before the applications were due. They had like a diversity visitation program. And so I was able to do that and kind of get a feel for those schools as well. And then a lot of them also do like virtual open houses, and then reaching out to faculty also helps. So I've been able to narrow it down to about 6, I would say. Grad school applications can also be very, very pricey. So I found out like you can reach out to the faculty or the admissions and ask for a fee waiver. I know if you're also a McNair Scholar, they pay for your grad school applications. So that's definitely a benefit. If you qualify for that, I would definitely look into it. But yeah, that's just some of the things. I kind of have this big master spreadsheet of like this school, this is when the applications due, these are the faculty I'm interested in. So, and definitely starting early because some of the applications don't open until like August or September, and they're due in December. So you only really have that 3-month window to apply, but there's a whole lot of research that goes into it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So I guess we'll kind of wrap it up here with the final question.
Yep.
You've covered a lot of material, but if looking back now, so now you're a senior getting ready to graduate. If you could go back in time and talk to your freshman self, what piece of advice would you give yourself that might be beneficial to our Chemistry 108 students?
Ooh. Focus on your classes and try to absorb as much material as you can because it all overlaps on each other. You might think like, oh, I'm never going to need physical chemistry. And then you're like, oh, actually, physical chemistry has a lot to do with organic. So definitely absorbing a lot of the information, knowing that your professors are there for you and they want to see you succeed. So not being afraid to ask them questions or ask them for help. Reaching out to other students as well, forming study groups is one of the best things you can do, especially with other chemistry majors, because you will see as you move up to upper level chemistry courses, it's the same like group of 5 students that move along with you. So making good friends with other majors as well. And we have a really great student chapter of the American Chemical Society on campus. So definitely joining that helps, and getting connected with other scholars just to talk about like, oh, I heard you're in this research group. How is that going? And then really just having a shoulder to lean on as well with your peers.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule as you're getting ready to graduate to talk to our Chemistry 108 students. We'll be showing this to them after Thanksgiving, given where we're at in the semester, but I know they're going to get an awful lot out of it. So I want to thank you again for everything and wish you the best of luck in the future.
Yes, thank you so much. I had a great time, and good luck to everyone for your next 4, maybe 3 years, maybe. Yeah. I was able to do it in 3.5. So it is not impossible, but it's also not that bad to take an extra semester. So, yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.